Welcome to the CEO Hour with Dean Akers. The mission? To help CEOs and startups succeed in today's marketplace. Entrepreneur or established CEOs, is your business growing? Where's your business going? Let's talk about it with your host, Dean Akers.
Well, welcome to the CEO Hour. I'm your host, Dean Akers, and joining you each week, we bring you top CEOs and entrepreneurs who share their journey, and this includes their thoughts and ideas that have helped them in their successes, and obviously things I hope they learned that they may never do again. Today we have Dr. Shin. He's the CEO and founder of DSE Manufacturing, which is a munitions manufacturing in the southeastern United States. Welcome, Dr. Shin.
Thank you for inviting me here today.
Well, we're really excited. Our listeners love to hear the journeys and what they love to hear how you got where you went, where you started. So back in 1944, August-ish, what happened?
Well, yeah, I was born, recorded the birthday is August, but I was born in February. And at the time, it was Korea, whole Korean Peninsula was under the Japanese occupation.
Wow. So you were born in Korea during kind of right there in the war.
Right.
World War II.
Yeah, tail end of Japanese aggression.
So you lived in Korea for how long?
27 years.
So that's where you were educated?
Correct.
And so what got you to move to the United States?
Well, I was, it's kind of, again, along the way, I feel the God's fingerprint led me to where I am.
Right.
And who I am.
Right.
And then I was kind of involved in the Christian students movement.
In Korea?
In Korea.
Which back then was a pretty unique situation, right?
Correct. And during those eras under military government, and the president of the park, the students were kind of the largest voice against or criticizing the military regime then, and there was a lot of uproars, demonstrations by college kids, students, especially Christian students.
Right.
And then there's operations pretty severe one, and I, as one of the leadership in the Christian students, they kind of keep their pulse on me, and then I was detained by them, and then kind of through some interrogations, and then at that time, somebody, as a matter of fact, the gentleman in the government at the time, the government he was investigating and he was interrogating me. We become a little bit. He was a nice guy, and then kind of hinted at me that you're kind of bright guy, and then I think you might looking into going outside of Korea because I was under their list, so to speak.
So you've a lot of our listeners out there are younger folks, and they can't even comprehend this and what we see today, and not trying to get into that discussion of what's going on today. But you were part of the true post-war, the oppressed kind of there was a dictatorship, right?
Right.
And you were part of a Christian Korean movement at the time?
Right.
So that was probably not a populist movement?
Well, it was, but it was a biggest threat to existing military regime then, because it's millions of members there. Yeah.
So you get this kind of hint that this is probably not where you want to finish up your life.
Right.
How did you come to the United States?
And then Korea was still one of the poorest country on the earth. At the time, they're making like a GDP per capita now not even $1,000 a year, and there's not very much hope. And then now Korea is known as one of the most developed technologically in the world, but then it's not even consumables were kind of made in Korea. It's just that we were Korea and the whole Korea were kind of their life is supported by the like a goodwill and the UN, and then those generous minds, mostly from U.S. And,
so now you've had kind of somebody that you're on the list, and somebody's kind of met with you and say, your Christian thoughts and stuff probably aren't going to work out well here. Mm-hmm. Again, how did you move to the U.S.? Did you seek asylum, or did you
No, I heard about the U.S. at that time. 65 was the year that John F. Kennedy passed the immigration law, opening the door.
Right.
Okay. And then I heard about that, and 68-ish, and then with those things going, I being always the fear of being detained and interrogated kind of thing. So I decided to find a way to come to the U.S. because at that time we're U.S. the engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer.
Were you a mechanical engineer now because of your schooling in Korea?
Right, I was. I had my engineering degree in Korea. It's like a Ivy League in Korea, in the U.S. And then seeking a engineering job, perhaps in Boeing. So I sent a letter, and then I got the form and sent a letter, with a petition to the immigration office and authorities in Seattle, and then they accepted my application.
Boeing?
Yeah, no, not Boeing. Boeing by the time that I came, it took about a couple of years to process.
Oh, the immigration side.
Right. And when I landed in the Seattle, that I didn't, nobody else that I knew, but I tried to kind of see what's going on, and that's the tail end of the Vietnam War.
So you came to Seattle,
right,
not knowing anybody,
right,
as an immigrant from South Korea,
right, having
come out of an oppressed kind of country.
Yeah,
that took a lot of guts.
Well, the alternative is being detained and then interrogated.
It's like, which do you choose, right?
Right.
But when you landed in Seattle, you had never been to the U.S. prior, had you?
Never.
So was that Seattle in that era when you landed? Did you just open your eyes and go? Was it pretty?
Well, like a young, almost the young guys. I kind of hoped and then thought that expected that somebody would give me a crack or a chance, and then I would become their asset. I know it's in my mind. I would make them. I would contribute beyond what they expected from anybody. So it's a little bit arrogant. There's a lot of arrogance in there.
Well, what? We have a lot of CEOs that come on, and I think one of the things you just shared that our listeners should be taking away is you were confident that whoever hired you, they were going to get a value, and you were going to give them better than they even thought.
Right.
That's pretty powerful. That's not arrogant. Isn't that an attitude?
Well, yeah, in a way, but
would you ever say
looking back,
would you say you're a slacker?
what that means is I was ready to give them everything that I could.
Well, Dr. Shin, I can't even imagine this first part of your journey in Korea, as born there and then going through and then having some authorities kind of looking out after you a little bit by saying you probably ought to figure out a way to get out of here. And, when we come back into segment 2, we're going to want to learn about your first steps on the U.S. soil and how that really started your journey. And there's no question, having met you and know you, that you will always produce and give more back than asked or expected. So, again, I'm Dean Akers, your host of the CEO Hour, again, bringing you top entrepreneurs or CEOs each week, which includes their journeys, thoughts, and ideas that has helped their successes and things they've learned not to do again. And I want to remind everybody about the free offer before we go to break. It's a CEO physical. It's $10,000, and you can get it at help@adjunctco.com. That's help@adjunctco.com. We've had a number of people get it and really appreciate it. So we'll be right back for segment 2.
The CEO Hour with your host, Dean Akers. Connect with Dean at deanakers.com. We'll be right back.
So, you're a tech startup. You're working hard, trying to make it happen with big ideas, big dreams, and a small budget. You need to connect with people in the same boat. Now is the time to join the early stage startup group, the Innovation Center, an incubator for early stage tech firms. You can find them at tbinnovates.com. Now operating for over 14 years, the Innovation Center is a regional, national, and internationally known success story, continuing to generate momentum in Pinellas County. Twice, the Innovation Center has won the Tampa Bay Technology Forum's Excellence in Service Award and has been recognized by Entrepreneur.com as a top 10 international business incubator. And now, Tech Garage, a technology and entrepreneurship center, has joined forces with the Innovation Center to provide a co-working program in downtown St. Petersburg. Connect with the startup community. Connect with the Innovation Center. Go to tbinnovates.com. That's tbinnovates.com. And tell them the Adjunct CEO sent you.
If you're a CEO or organizational leader looking to expand your business, join the CEO Council, where you'll meet and exchange ideas with fellow CEOs without the pressures of a sales network environment. You can join today by sending an email to application@adjunctceo.com. The CEO Council is comprised of over 220 fantastic local business leaders you'll be able to learn from because they walk in your shoes every day. When you become a member of the CEO Council, you'll have an opportunity to build trusted relationships during the roundtable meetings, share your triumphs, vet ideas, and work through business challenges with peers who can provide real-world business solutions. The CEO Council offers opportunities to hear from world-renowned speakers that inspire ideas to help members grow as both leaders and individuals. Join the CEO Council. Request your CEO Council membership application today at adjunctceo.com or by sending email to application@adjunctceo.com. That's application@adjunctceo.com.
Helping your business succeed in today's marketplace. Welcome back to the CEO Hour with Dean Akers.
Well, welcome to segment 2 of the CEO Hour. Again, I'm your host, Dean Akers, bringing you top CEOs and entrepreneurs each week that share their journeys. And again, it includes their thoughts and ideas that help them in their success and also things they've learned not to do again. Today, we have Dr. Shin, CEO of and founder of DSE Manufacturing and Munitions Company. But really, as you listeners know, the whole key to this show and the reason we have such a big listenership across all the country and the world now, because our podcast is worldwide, is part of the journey. And I got to tell you, I have met Dr. Shin prior, but this first segment, I've learned more about him than I ever knew. And how cool is it that he's an immigrant from Korea? He had Christian missionaries that helped teach you English, right?
Right.
And so he moves to Seattle. So here he is, an immigrant at roughly age 27.
Right.
In Seattle, college educated, which was probably one of the first generations of college educated Koreans at that level.
Yeah. First, yeah.
And
one of, yeah.
Yeah, you're a true immigrant story that we read about, where you come over here. You didn't come with great amounts of wealth, did you?
Well, at that time, the Korean government allowed anybody who move out of Korea or family, allow them to take a $200. That's all. You can't take more than $200, even if you are wealthier than that.
So you came to Seattle with $200?
Yeah. Maybe a few more dollars change, but not much. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Not crazy bad, but how cool is that to come to Seattle with $200? Okay, so now you come into Seattle. You're in your 20s. You have a degree in engineering from a college in Korea. You come with high Christian values that help teach you English. Wow, tell me how that journey goes from the day you land.
Well, I landed at Seattle, and I stayed in the YMCA kind of lodging place.
Right.
And then I'm trying to find a job at Boeing, and then they started laying people off, engineers off, because it's tail end of Vietnam War.
Right.
And then just didn't have no place to go. And then so my relative lived in Washington, D.C. area. He was he served as miner in Germany, coal mine.
Really?
At that time, yeah. The people then, young people, even the college graduate, some of them went to Germany to work at the coal mine, and then woman as a nurse aides. So he served there, worked there a few years, and then came to the Washington, D.C. I heard that, and I got the address, and so I came to the Washington, D.C.
Now, how'd you get there? Did you hitchhike across the country?
Well, no, I bought the ticket, and it kind of, I came a little bit more than a couple $100. Yeah.
Yeah, you put some in your shoe.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I went to the Washington, D.C. From there, there's no, there's no job. Really, country was in poor, pretty bad shape.
Yeah, that was the 70s recession.
Right.
It was rough.
Yeah. And then, then I kind of worked, and, just do odd work here and there, and then whatever they can find. And also there are a lot of, it's between Baltimore and the Washington, D.C.
Right.
Although there's an Army base was there.
Right.
And then there's several servicemen there. The Korean woman came there, and then there's a kind of domestic dispute problems. So, being one of a few, probably there are not many Korean in that Baltimore area, but can speak a little bit, can communicate. So I was asked to help and to become interpreter at the court with the domestic violence and domestic issues. So and then started helping them, the woman, and also, and then at that time, there's Asian communities there. There's Philippines, and then Japanese and Chinese, and a big Chinese. They're, I guess, moved from California after their grandfathers working at the railroad. And there was a federal government wanted to help the Asian communities there, so it's called the Asian Culture Center, funded by federal government. My understanding is a $205 million. And then they wanted to have the representative from each Asian the groups. So I was, recommended to become the part of that.
So that's how you really got your start and love for kind of all your involvement with government,
Right.
And your the Korean culture that you brought in and helped. So I know this is not a business question.
It
but
lead into the business.
Okay, but when did you meet your wife?
Oh, what was in what was?
And I know you're married and have three
Yeah.
beautiful daughters,
Yeah.
so I'm
in Korea actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we got married here in the Washington D.C.
Oh, did she? Did you bring her over?
Right. Yeah. But her, it's kind of through the family. Her parents and our parents. Our aunt is her, her aunt, kind of different way. But anyhow, this is the cousins. So I heard about her from her another cousin of hers, man, whom I liked very much, and he passed away. But he talked about his cousin, my wife. And she's a pretty girl, and she's nice, and you should meet her or this type. So I didn't know. I was busy, working and earning my tuition, and then because I worked my college.
But
4
you
years.
met her. You met her in Korea.
First, I did. No point, no time to even meet her. But later, yeah, I met her. I met her in Korea, and then she decided to come to the U.S.
Good for you.
after a little bit of a sweet talking and all that stuff.
I bet you were sweet talking her.
Yeah.
So now you're in D.C. and
Well, at the Baltimore at that time, Anne Arundel
Baltimore.
County. Yeah.
That area.
Yeah, the same area. Yeah.
And so you're working and helping people transition and all that. So how did that help your engineering degree?
Well, there I had, I had to have something because I have already, at that time, I'm married to my wife, and then I have, Jane and then another daughter, two there in Baltimore. But so I there's no engineering work because I didn't have engineering degree in the U.S. and even U.S. engineers didn't get the job.
Right.
Because everybody's laying people off,
right,
reducing the workforce. So I worked here and there, and then end up having small grocery store.
Really?
Yeah.
In Baltimore.
In Baltimore grocery store, and but attending that culture center meeting as a kind of representing the Korean community, and their retired judge and an attorney called Edward Corman was sort of supervising or helping. And then one day, because it's leading to my movement into Florida, one day he told me that, hey, I want you to visit me. So the Koreans or Asian culture, if a senior requests something, you just say yes.
Right.
You don't just say no.
Right.
So I told him, yes, sir, I will. And then I kind of, that just kind of, I didn't, they registered me to why I should be visiting him, right? But later on, about a few months later, he called me. Hey, I thought that you're going to visit me. I said, yes, sir. I'm sorry, I forgot it, but okay, I will. I can be there anytime this afternoon. No. I'm here in Venice, Florida. What, sir? Where is that, Venice? I heard of Venice, Italy, but never heard of Venice, Florida.
Well, I got to tell you, as when we go into segment 3 here in a minute, your journey has been insanely cool. To be sitting in Baltimore with a grocery store, then to have the cultural respect to visit elder people as a request or people that are older. Yeah. And this gentleman reaches out to you and says, you still haven't visited me, and I'm in Venice, Florida. So when we come back into segment 3, we're going to hear about, I think, part of the epic journey of how the grocery store magnate comes to Venice that really starts his trajectory. So again, this is Dean Akers, your host of the CEO Hour each week. And today we have Dr. Shin with us, sharing us his incredible journey. And we'll be right back with segment 3.
helping established CEOs and entrepreneurs. Connect with Dean at deanakers.com. The CEO Hour continues in a moment. Helping to navigate today's marketplace for startups and mainstays. Welcome back to the CEO Hour with Dean Akers.
Well, welcome to segment 3 of the CEO Hour. Again, I'm your host, Dean Akers, bringing you top CEOs and entrepreneurs every week that share their journeys, which include their successes and also the things they've learned not to do. Today, this is going to be a blessed show for anybody out there. We're talking to a true success story, but a success story in more ways than just financial, spiritually, give back. When we go into the 4th segment, we're going to talk about some of the things he's doing now as true give backs. And he's an amazing man, Dr. Shin. So Dr. Shin, you've now, out of respect for one of your elders who's requested you to show up in Venice, Florida, you make the trek to Venice.
Right.
Tell us what happens.
So first, I found out the Venice is in Florida.
Yeah.
So I bought ticket, came down, and then Tampa Airport, and then rent a car, and then drove down to Venice. 41, it took me, I think, several hours to get there. And I there's a little, well, to me, it was a big place, but considering, everything else, comparing, now it's a small. And then I knocked the door, and they come in, and there was Mr. Coleman was waiting. And then he asked me, why don't you, he had one of his guy to introduce me to, we walked through the shop. It's still in Venice, Florida. And then you can almost trip. It was all the machine shop. Then after that, I saw some better ones even in Korea than that one, but machines. But I came out, and he said, "Wait, Dave, what you think?" Well, again, I didn't want to embarrass him, so I said, "Well, it's pretty good." Because also, it's kind of, I have a nostalgia about the machines. It's in blood. So, okay, you think it's good? Yes, sir. Well, then, come see me at 5 o'clock at Kontiki Motel. And then you go to Venice Beach. So I didn't know what was going. I thought maybe he wanted to talk to me something about this Asian Culture Center in Baltimore. So 5 o'clock, I had maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours time there. And that's one of the best beach I ever been.
Beautiful.
Venice Beach. It's a beautiful white, it's a sugar sand beach. And then I was sitting in the jetty, at the jetty and watching. Oh, it was a heaven. There's no doubt in my mind it was heaven. So 5 o'clock, I kind of found it's a Kontiki Motel. And then he and then 2 other gentlemen were there. And then he said, this is so-and-so, and so he introduced to other gentlemen. And then he threw me a yellow writing pad. And there, I want you to dictate. I want you to write down what I dictate. I said, yes, sir. I didn't, absolutely no idea what he was trying to do. So I got that. I said, I, Yong Shin, agree to purchase Palemoy for $1. So at that time, and I stopped. Sir, what does that mean? What are you doing here? What am I doing here? Just to shut up and just keep write down. So I wrote down, and that's buying that company for $1. And of course, the equipment was owned by somebody else who was there. Right. The owner was there. And the building property was owned by somebody else. And then so they were there. And then, so what is this? I saw you. I've seen you. What you do. You're helping other people. And that you are engineer, right? I said, yes, sir. I think you can manage it. Sir, I don't have any money. I didn't have any money to buy because it's a building. Right. I mean, the business was for $1. Right. But the building and then the equipment were different. It's several $100,000. So he said, you have a lot of friends. I said, I don't know, sir. I like to think that I have friends, but they'll chip in. I know a few of your friends already. I talked to them. And then the building owner said, okay, you pay me, monthly payment. And he quoted the same thing. I said, sir, I have I'm not trained in the United States. Metric system is worldwide, and the U.S.
Right.
is pound system.
Right.
Don't know how to manage this. So I'm pretty sure you can. I'm pretty sure you will do it. Good job. So that's how I got started. But
So that
the
night,
owner.
Yeah. So that night,
Yeah.
that had to be some. We've talked about your spirituality. That had to be some divine direction there,
Right.
as you called it, the footprint.
Right.
And so that night you're sitting there, and essentially that night, those folks thought so much of you that they wanted you to be a successful business.
This gentleman, Edward Coleman was, but the other gentleman I didn't know.
But he had spoke highly of you.
Right.
So he had already validated
So
you.
what they were doing is that they are already in the late 60s and the 70s, and the 5 partners in their company wanted to retire, and then they were looking for somebody who can buy or pass it down to.
So now, for whatever reason, you're in that business.
Right.
So now you move your family to Venice.
Right. That's about a year later.
Yeah. So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
what did that machine shop do that led you into the munitions business?
That machine shop was making the construction hardwares and miscellaneous parts for automobile industry. They're doing okay until I think the late 80 or 81. And then I didn't read it, but there said some newspaper in Detroit that said that whoever leave Detroit last, the police turn the light off, kind of thing. That automobile industry was crashing pretty badly because of they blame union, and the union blames management. Anyhow, so all of a sudden, and also the construction, it was a kind of recession that time.
Right.
And the construction hardwares weren't selling. So 81, it was pretty bad time. So that Mr. Coleman, I was trying to, keep making the payment, money that I didn't have. So he saw me struggling. He said that I want you to, you're smart enough to get into doing some good job and look into defense work. So, sir, I don't know much of defense work. But go to see small business, Tampa. So I drove over to Tampa, and I went to the small business office. And then, and that's how I got started. And the first job, I didn't know how to bid. So I kind of thought that, figured out because the only thing I had to play was no knowledge, right, of defense. And then a job I got, I landed the first contract, and that was $3,900. I thought it was great. Well, there was a lot of things that I didn't expect yet need to be done. It's not just material in the making. There's a lot of other administrative things and the quality assurance, the software money expense, but it's very expensive. And that job cost me $30,000. $3,900.
That didn't work, did it?
But I learned a lot from there. And that's how I got into it. And then, borrow the money from friends, and then here, and then, just stretch it pretty thin. But then, this is the kind of where the divinity comes in. I mean, I didn't have any experience. So I needed obviously I didn't know how to quote, right? Proposer. So I wanted to have some experience a person with a quotation capability. So I ran the ad in Sarasota Tribune, I think. Sarasota Herald or Tribune?
Right.
Yeah. The help wanted. I heard that a lot of retired people are there. Help wanted. And with the, with the experience of coding in a government job. It's kind of the help wanted that. It's two line because I think it cost me $40.
So that's how you got your guy.
Right, and then I ran the ad, and there's another gentleman comes in, which is Peter DeCamp. I ran the ad, and then no answer, no phone calls, and then later, about a month later, one person called me, and then he said that you're looking for the person who has experience in the coding the government job. I said, yes, sir. He sounds just like a little, a voice. So then he came. No, there's a story. It's a month later. He came and then sat with me and looked around, and he said he went, okay. And then he called me, said, I couldn't, it's too far, and then I couldn't help you. He was 70 years old. He's a multimillionaire. And his experiences with the government contracting throughout his life. But the way that what is a month, he sold a newspaper, and then he threw the paper away, and then a month later, and then he's a cleaning lady.
So let me ask you this. So when we come back into segment 4, this is really the foundation of your journey into the defense industry.
Right.
So we have Dr. Shin sharing his incredible journey, and we'll be right back into segment 4.
Success never takes the weekend off. Connect with Dean at deanakers.com. The CEO Hour continues in a moment.
Growth begins by understanding where you are now. For a limited time, business growth experts at Adjunct CEO will provide a full CEO physical of your business valued at $10,000 for free. Email CEO physical at adjunctceo.com. This offer includes financial, marketing, and sales analysis and an outline to help you strategize future success. For your free CEO physical, email CEO physical at adjunctceo.com. CEO physical at adjunctceo.com. Florida ranks high as a new hub for business growth and innovation. Startups, restarts, and starting over are all part of the new vitality generated as geography and economic opportunity collide. As Florida's entrepreneurial ecosystem grows, many are using Synapse to grow their business. Synapse is a groundbreaking methodology that connects all personas within the innovation economy, utilizing a method that enables all users to progress in meeting their given needs while promoting much-needed community engagement. Never more than now has Florida presented opportunity to be better aligned in business, providing huge potential for greater overall results with strong collaboration and holistic leadership. Synapse is a growth synthesis platform that will allow you to take advantage and flourish in ways you never thought possible as an entrepreneur, as a business, and within the context of community, events, connections, publishing, all with Synapse. See for yourself at synapsefl.com. That's synapsefl.com.
Helping your business succeed in today's marketplace. Welcome back to the CEO Hour with Dean Akers.
Well, welcome back to the fourth and final segment of the CEO Hour. Again, I'm your host, Dean Akers, bringing you top CEOs and entrepreneurs each week that share their journey. This week we have Dr. Shin, and this has been an incredible journey from birth in Korea to immigrating at 27 into the States, to having a grocery store in Baltimore, to getting a call from somebody that really admired him at afar to come to Venice, an elder, and being respectfully comes to Venice, and the gentleman essentially sets him up in the machining business. And then to have all these ordained, or whatever you want to call it, to have the point where now the economy hits, so the traditional mechanical or the traditional business he was in is not where it needs to be. And he gets this kind of revelation for defense, and he manages to lose some money on his first contract, and he runs an ad, and this gentleman comes into his life.
Yeah, this gentleman, and the cleaning lady happened to find the piece of newspaper between the crack and pulled out and caught his eye. Same ad. He never paid attention to any help I wanted, the kind of thing. He's a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
So he felt the funny, and he called me. That's what he called me after 1 month after the newspaper ads. And then he said, I cannot come. And then later on, he said that, well, it's just bothering me, so I'm going to come. So he started helping me. And everything that I know, I learned it from him, either one-to-one tutoring for 4 years.
That's amazing. Yeah. So a message for entrepreneurs out there is, and this is in another show, we've had this from other shows, people should really almost actively try to find a mentor, because he was your mentor, wasn't he?
Right, he was.
Wow, and so is he still alive?
No, he is the same age of President Reagan, and he passed away several years ago.
Wow, so now you're doing DSE, you've shifted gears, you've become a major munitions manufacturer in the United States. Tell us just a little bit about that journey, because I think that journey brings you to where your legacy is today, right?
Yes, and then I started defense work, and it's a very tough learning curve, and the entry was not easy either. But with his help, he hand guided me all the way through how to read, procurement, close, how to interpret that, and to the engineering, and then 4 years, and then he had a stroke, and then but that's at about 4 years, and he told me, "Dave, I'm going to take it easy. I'm not going to come anymore," and then because you learned more than I when I teach you one and you learn 2, 3, and so you have enough. And then about 3-4 days later, his wife called and he had a massive stroke, and that's how I learned all my knowledge. And from there on, it's kind of a new toy for me. Horizon was broadened for me, because he compacted that in 4 years, the probably 100 years worth of the knowledge.
Right.
From A to Z.
Right.
The materials, and then manufacturing, and then he was an engineer too, and then purchasing, and then human relations too. So after that, and then I still struggled because I didn't have the great mentor by me. There's a lot of stories, every corner step.
But you grew the business,
right? And then that point in time, it's defense industry. There's when the business kind of struggling, and then I end up, it come to my knowledge, and I end up buying that. So I bought several companies, competitors, and then advanced technology owners, and then had from Venice to Tampa, to St. Petersburg, and then to Mulberry, and then Orlando, and then Carolina. So I had about 6 different locations. And then...
So you go from a grocery store in Baltimore to 6 manufacturing locations for defense.
Right.
Okay, that's pretty epic.
Yeah, grocery was... kind of, it's my wife was doing.
Well, yeah, I know, but at the end of the day, this is a tale, not a tale, but a journey that had a lot of twists and turns that a lot of people were really watching out for you, or some major, probably God watching out for you. So now you've grown this defense industry, and what do you think in total sales you've done in the defense industry world was?
It's in the billions.
Right.
Yeah.
So you grew a defense company from an immigrant from Korea to a company that was in the billions. You subsequently have sold that company, right?
Right.
So now you're following your true passion, which is giving back, right? Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about that journey of, DSE is a super cool journey, to grow from a machine shop, so to speak, to multiple locations, billions of work in defense, but it really set you up for who you are today, right?
Right.
So now you're into major give back, right?
Yeah. It was 2004, my 60th birthday. I was running, traveling throughout the world, and then because the product that I was making is a major product,
right?
Major munitions, and then the rest of the world wants. Of course, with the State Department and the Defense Department approval, then we will either commercial base to sell,
right,
or FMS for military sales,
right.
We export. But now I was going really, business was doing well, and I still enjoy my health then. So that May, so one day, I had a pain for quite a few months. I didn't know what it was, and then one day, my daughter Jane, called me, and in our house in the St. Pete, I didn't answer. I couldn't answer. I couldn't get up to answer. So she came, and she has a little statue. I mean, small, and then it's almost kind of. She almost held me downstairs and went to the Bayfront hospital. And I had the brain surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that itself is another
Right.
divinity, divine influence is there. And but then, as I had a tough time to recovering, and then had some, get up at odd hour, like 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, not 3 o'clock. And then I hear this thing and just keep saying that, what about my starving and the freezing children? So I didn't know what was talking about, what I'm hearing this. And then I was looking, maybe St. Pete area, Pinellas County might have some feeding problem children, but it wasn't that. After that, I heard, I kind of got the phone call from this missionary group and it contacted me. And that's what I got involved in, feeding starving children in North Korea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have shipped about 60 million meals to date.
60 million meals.
Yeah, million meals to infant 1 to 5.
So as we get close to the end of the show, this amazing journey, what 1 or 2 points would you want our listeners to take away that they can use in their lives as we wrap up the show?
Yeah. I've been invited to speak a few places, and then I've kind of come back to this issue. You want to be successful, whatever your success is or are. The winning combination of success is care, share, serve.
Care, share,
serve.
And serve.
You might have some daily job in the convenience, but if you care your customer or the ones providing you a job, and if you have attitude of serving others instead of being expect to be served all the time, which is in a way against the principle of economy, principle of a free market economy. Yet it's not the opposite of that. If you share, the person who were with you or become a beneficiary of your sharing heart or caring mind or your humility in serving others will never let you down. They will make sure they will see your success because they need you.
Dr. Shin, I totally appreciate you coming on the show today. I wish we had 5 hours. The message you've just given our listeners, care, share, and serve, I don't know in my career if I've had anybody articulate it quite that way. And again, I know our listeners will take this. I know I will take this. And not only will I take this, I will do like you and give back more in these 3 areas because I believe in them too. Again, if you're a listener out there, I want to remind you each week on the CEO Hour, we bring you top CEOs. This week we had Dr. Shin. Dr. Shin, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And for our listeners out there, care, share, and serve. You've learned it, or you've heard that from a man that's had a journey that is epic. He's faith-based. He is a total give back today in his life. Again, I'm Dean Akers, your host for the CEO Hour, and I'm humbled every week when I get to bring you these top CEOs that share their journey. And today I'm humbled to have been able to be here with Dr. Shin as he shared his journey and it shared out about caring, sharing, and serving. So until we see you next week, this is Dean Akers, your host of the CEO Hour. Have a great week and care, share, and serve.
Thanks for listening to this CEO Hour with Dean Akers, helping businesses and CEOs succeed in today's marketplace. Receive a free CEO physical when you connect with Dean at deanakers.com. That's deanakers.com. And join us again next week for the CEO Hour with Dean Akers.